Solar panels on a petroleum tank. A juxtaposition of two very different forms of energy. One might say that one is the future and the other is the past. But the reality is that as of today, we need both. This tank stands as a symbol of the fuel that we all still require to live our daily lives, but also the future we all must move towards. And after spending some time with the folks at Sprague Energy, I can't think of a better analogy for the sustainability work they are all doing. As Axel Johnson's sustainability director, I had to see these for myself, which meant climbing up a really tall set of stairs.
If the heights bother you at all, I don't know if it does or not, just look forward.
For the record, I am terrified of heights. But before I get to the top of this ladder, while really contemplating my career path, let's take a step back and see how we got here. I talked to quite a few people at Sprague.
I am the Director of Health, Safety, Environment, and Sustainability for Sprague Energy.
I'm Kristen Campbell. I'm the Sustainability Manager.
Kevin Grant. I am the Renewable Fuels Trader.
I'm David Glendon. I'm the President and CEO at Sprague.
I'm Shayna Hoke. I'm the Director of Marketing and Customer Experience at Sprague.
The energy industry hasn't always been on the cusp of what would be considered sustainable.
I think one of the challenges at Sprague is that we do work with a lot of fuels that are not considered very green.
Within the family of Axel Johnson companies, we have quite a few that are inherently sustainable. From a company that reclaims wood rather than cutting down trees, to a manufacturer of equipment to clean wastewater prior to discharging to the environment, and even a company founded on housing that is walkable. So an oil company might appear to be the black sheep of the family. But the reality is, these guys are killing it, which takes me back to these solar panels and up the rest of this ladder.
So this is it, huh? This is it.
And Sprague isn't just installing these on their tanks, they're actually partnering with the company that provides them.
So Picktricity is a company that approached us almost 2 years ago. The CEO of that company is a former energy broker for Sprague.
My name's Kevin Maloney. I'm a founder, president, and CEO of Picktricity.
Started a business within the solar energy, actually selling glass panels to residential and commercial buildings.
As we found ourselves very much getting involved in more unique projects that required outside-the-box solutions.
And because some of the roofs in Boston are fairly weak or structurally constrained, they couldn't do glass panels, so he had researched thin film panels, photovoltaic thin film panels.
And that's really the key to this whole project getting off the ground. Storage tanks won't support traditional glass panels.
And every day he said he would drive by our facilities, our tanks, and was wondering, couldn't it be possible to put these things on a petroleum tank?
And I remember sitting there thinking, going, we should put thin film on top of these tanks.
He had talked to a couple people, and people had pretty much shut him down.
But we then started thinking, and I realized that we're brokers for Sprague. Sprague has tanks.
He finally called into Sprague and had thrown the idea out, and no one really knew where to send this guy to, so they sent him to me, the sustainability director, and said, you may want to talk to this person.
Introduced us to Jay LeDuc, the Director of Sustainability, Health, Safety, and Environmental Compliance, and immediately grasped the idea.
And the rest, as they say, is history. The first tank was completed in late 2018 and has already generated over 1 million kilowatt hours of clean, renewable energy. Sprague committed to adding panels to over 40 additional tanks, and within that agreement is now part owner of Picktricity. And they have some pretty lofty goals as well.
There's 1 million steel tanks in the United States. It represents one of the largest single solar opportunities, definable solar opportunities in the United States, never mind the balance of the world. And there's a possibility, a very real possibility, that we can turn these tanks into batteries.
Did he just say batteries?
They can turn some percentage of these tanks into sea salt slurry batteries. These batteries contain no rare earth metals, no harmful materials.
One of the roadblocks to solar energy is storing the power. By converting the tanks to sea salt batteries, the energy can be stored right in the tank, turning it into a giant, environmentally friendly battery.
So as we turn those assets into batteries, these are not going to be, batteries that run a car. These are going to be batteries that run towns.
This project is a great example of Sprague's philosophy on sustainability.
Sprague's actually got an interesting history of evolving to provide more sustainable fuels to our customers. And we've always viewed it from a customer-centric perspective, which is, if you trace it all the way back to the whale oil days, which was arguably not a very sustainable fuel, on through to providing oil products, natural gas, more recently biofuels, etc., solar, wind opportunities. It's always been from a mindset of helping our customers, commercial and industrial customers, deal with their own energy challenges. And there's no question that the world is moving towards lower carbon fuels or more sustainable fuels, and we've always believed that it's better to obviate our own business rather than have others do it for us.
And Sprague's sustainability work doesn't stop at the solar tanks either. They have long been one of the few facilities to unload and handle those giant windmills that stand throughout the country as monuments to sustainable energy. Sprague has a philosophy of providing the fuel sources their customers demand. However, they have been working for years to provide lower carbon footprint alternatives.
I guess we first got into renewables through biodiesel back in 2005. It was kind of a initial trial for us to see if there was a marketplace for a value-added product, and as folks were started to focus in on more lower emission type of fuels, we got into biodiesel in Albany and Portland, and from that position we've grown it throughout our entire network now. Not only biodiesel, but cellulosic fuels as well as renewable diesel on the liquid renewable front.
Sprague has a goal of reducing the overall carbon footprint of the fuels they provide by 5% a year. That equates to reductions in the billions of pounds of greenhouse gases. They also partnered with the City of New York to complete a 6-month pilot project to utilize renewable diesel in city-owned trucks. And they're not just concentrating on reducing their customers' carbon footprint, but their own as well.
Over the past 3 years, Sprague locations have been changing out their light fixtures and light bulbs with LED fixtures and light-emitting diodes.
In 2017 alone, the energy savings was equivalent to removing over 90 cars from the road for an entire year. That's more cars than there are in Sprague's parking lot. And yes, they recycle too.
In 2018, all terminals across the Sprague network have either established or continued their recycling program. At headquarters, we've increased our recycling by over 30%.
My focus has always been on the commercial side. Sustainability for me offers opportunities because we're seeing disruptions in the marketplace as people change to use different types of fuels. These disruptions are great opportunities to increase our business as well as our margin structure.
Sprague's journey is a shining example of how a company can still provide the fuels that all of us require to live our daily lives, but evolve and lead the way into a more sustainable future by looking at the changing landscape around them as an opportunity to grow.